to what Allah has commanded. You know, they might be gambling, for example. They might be consuming alcohol, for example. Yes. But people who sincerely go and pray in the masjid, as Allah says in the Quran, "Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar." Yes. So the salah, your prayers, which is your 5 times obligatory prayer, if you perform them correctly, then this will prevent you from the fahsha, from the wickedness. Yes. Wal munkar, and the evil, and this is something. So your prayers are going to shield you from these evil, wicked things which Allah has forbidden you. So people who still continue doing this, then they should check their prayers. Yes, there's something lacking in the prayers if they still continue doing this. What about you? I know you said you're not a practicing Muslim. I mean, do you at least perform the obligatory? Alhamdulillah.
But I don't pray like I don't. The thing is, that's why.
So you're doing similar to that woman. You're fulfilling one obligation and rejecting the other. Salah is always important because Ramadan comes once a month. Salah is every single day, isn't it? And Allah has given concession to people who cannot fast, like the people who are traveling or people who are ill. So Allah has given them the concession that they should make up some other day or some certain. But for prayer, even if you are like on your bed, you know, you are unable to move, you are so sick you cannot even move, yes, but you're at least able to do it by gestures, yes. So you can do, your prayer is not something that Allah gives you, what do you say, any sort of, yeah, there's no excuse for it.
That's why
so you should definitely pray, you know, make it a habit. I know it's not easy if you haven't prayed in well, I don't know, all your life or most of your life. So try to make it a habit. When you start to keep a timetable of the prayers, whenever the time. How long it takes to pray, man? What? 3 minutes? 4 minutes? Okay, you know, not a long time.
I mean, that's why I kind of came here, because I think I know enough as to where I can be held accountable. If that makes sense. Like I know that you should pray. I sort of know how you pray, but not too much. Like I know enough.
Whereabouts do you live? If you don't mind me asking.
I live near Lewisham.
Okay. Are there any masjids near your home? Okay, so maybe that's the first thing you need to do, because it's always good to do it in a congregation, you know, in the masjid, because the environment is first and foremost is something which there's no distractions, yeah, in the masjids, and it is something which everybody focuses on, which is the prayer. And if you're doing it with the congregation, then it helps you, isn't it? Yeah. So even if you don't know how to pray, you can just follow. No, you can follow them. So whatever actions they are doing, you follow that action.
I mean, the classic question is, why be a Muslim? Why Islam? I mean, that's like the big sort of.
Is that your question?
Yeah, it's my question now.
No, that's fine. You shouldn't. I mean, asking any question in Islam is something which you shouldn't be embarrassed about.
Right. I'm not embarrassed about it.
So, why you should be a Muslim? Good question. What does a Muslim mean? Let's start with that.
Okay, so from what I understand is, being a Muslim is obviously you believe in God. And
so stop there.
Yeah.
So the first focus here is God. You believe God exists?
In some form, yeah, but I'm not.
What do you mean in some form? So let's start with that, because that is more important than you being a Muslim. In order for you to be a Muslim, you have to first acknowledge God.
I mean, I've sort of come to the conclusion that it is one God.
Yeah.
It's not multiple gods like how they used to think in the past. You have a God of, hot, cold, light, dark. I think it is one God, but I think this God is kind of, I'm taking kind of like a deistic position, if that makes sense, where God is too far away.
Why?
Because
why do you want to take a deistic position? Because for a deist, God is not something who would actually answer your prayers, look after you.
Right.
You know, he just lets you. He's just created this universe and lets you fend for yourself.
Right.
Why would you take such an approach? Because the whole purpose of this interaction with your Creator is so He's able to tell you how to attain salvation.
Right.
Because in a deistic position, how do you get justice, for example?
There is no, I mean, it's a really wide question, but that's the jump that I'm really struggling with. It's not really from atheism to Islam, it's more deism to Islam.
I understand, but what I'm saying is that in deism, how does one attain justice?
Well,
how does someone...
You have different religions that come up with some code of law, some sort of way of discerning what is right and wrong.
Yeah, but that's exactly the key.
Right.
In deism, you don't have revelation from prophets from God. So in Islam, especially in Abrahamic faiths, Abrahamic faith actually is the faith of Abraham. You have revelation from God, which comes from God to human beings, and human beings are told what to do and what not to do. So the do's and the don'ts are mentioned, the halal and the haram, the permitted and the forbidden is mentioned clearly. If you don't know this, in a deistic, worldview, none of this exists. So people will be always subjective in their understanding of good and evil.
Right, that's what I'm struggling with. Like maybe the deistic one is more like probable, let's say naturalistically, or without keeping like belief in mind. I think it's more probable, so that's why I've been sort of leaning towards that kind of God. And I think...
Why does it have to be naturalistic? Is it because you believe in only what you see?
No.
Then why does it have to be naturalistic? Because I believe in supernatural and natural.
Right.
Why do you not believe in the supernatural? In the sense that there are certain things which are of metaphysical nature, and certain things which are of physical nature.
I mean, it's hard to... Like, they're definitely possible. Miracles are possible. Right? Something can drop on my head.
I'm not talking about miracles.
Supernatural, anything.
Okay.
It's possible, but it's very, very unlikely.
I'll give you a hint. I'm talking about you.
Right.
Okay? There is an element of metaphysical in you.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
No.
Your consciousness. Okay? Because there's no empirical evidence for consciousness.
Yeah.
The fact that you're asking me these questions, your reasoning, your faculty of reasoning, all that is attached to what? To your consciousness. What is consciousness? That you're aware of your environment. Because otherwise you can't even consider yourself a human. If you don't have consciousness, then you're not even a human.
This is sort of, you kind of remind me, this is what nudged me to Islam. It wasn't really philosophy or like belief or something that happened in my life. It was actually the human consciousness.
Exactly.
Like we have something that you told me, like, I don't think it can come from anywhere else apart from God or whatever.
Absolutely. And not only that, most scientists who are agnostic or who are atheists, who don't believe in God, they believe in consciousness without empirical evidence. You see what I mean? Yeah. So they demand empirical evidence for God, but when it comes to the consciousness, they just accept it. By faith. It is by faith, actually.
Maybe this is an interesting question I'm trying to get to. How do humans gain the consciousness?
They're born with it.
Okay. How?
So it is an intrinsic part of a human being to have consciousness. Even someone who is extremely disabled, and I mean mentally and physically as well. Even they have consciousness, so they are aware. I think even people who are in a coma, they have some low level of consciousness, perhaps. Even though they are referred to as being unconscious. The reason they still keep them alive on certain machines is because they can monitor their.
You need to
the vital organs here.
This concept of the first Adam, the first human being.
What about the first human?
So consciousness.
So it's
Adam was born with consciousness, right?
Yeah. So Allah breathed the soul into him.
Okay.
Yeah. So the soul is a creation of Allah, by the way. Right. So people don't misunderstand.
So
that
so God breathed his.
Not his soul, but a soul from him. So.
What's the difference?
Well, his soul means he has a soul, and he breathes that soul into you. So you're not really divine, because some people actually believe that everybody is part of God. I think some Hindus believe that.
Yeah, I mean, you could believe when it comes to metaphysical sort of things, it's a grey area.
No, I
think it's a grey area.
Well, when you say grey area, of course, metaphysical is something that you will not be able to determine in a lab. So just like you can measure the temperature of a room or this place by a thermometer, which you have empirical evidence, because you know exactly what the temperature will be, because you have this device. So there's no device which can measure your consciousness.
So with Adam, what I didn't understand was, why is it not? So why do Muslims deny evolution? I don't personally believe in I don't conclusively believe in evolution. But I don't understand why you would completely put it to the side.
There are difference of opinions when it comes to evolution of animals, for example, other than humans. So we believe that Adam is is a miraculous creation of God. Yeah, and you don't see anything like a human being. Like you look at the rest of the creation of God here. Like I'm talking about the ones that you can see. The animals, for example, they do not have the faculties of reasoning. They don't have libraries and civilizations and what do you say? Like the way we have a system, you know, like the way we reason our thoughts and articulations and so on.
Like, is Adam? So okay.
Adam is a creation of Allah, a special creation of Allah, and the Quran says he's created from dust.
So Adam is himself, right? Adam has a soul.
Yeah,
right?
Of course, yeah.
So
when he was created by Allah without a soul. Then Allah puts the soul in him.
I understand it, but what makes you human? What makes Adam and not just
I told you,
bipedal?
It's mainly your.
It's up here, right?
Yeah, it's all comes from your consciousness, your faculty of reasoning, your faculty to determine good and bad, for example. You know, your fitra, you're born with that. So it's something which is innate to humans only.
Maybe okay, I'll put it in this way. So why is it not possible? So this is how I sort of think of it. Maybe it's not the right way to think of it. You have sort of bipedal things, let's call them people, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't really have consciousness. They weren't really conscious.
Whom are you talking about?
These bipedal, Neanderthal, bipedal people.
Okay.
But God kind of struck this thing called Adam, this man, whatever, called Adam, with consciousness.
Yeah, so humans are, like I said, they're distinct from everyone else.
Right, but so why is it not possible? Why doesn't that come together with evolution, for example? Like, why can't you have? So okay, I'll put it in this. So let's say you have like a baby, right?
Yeah.
Slowly becomes bipedal, but he's not conscious yet, and he will never attain consciousness without this type of God. It's only when God kind of hits him on the head with some sort of consciousness, some sort of soul, that he becomes a human being.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I think about it. But obviously,
well, we can't speculate on what happened back then, but we can only go back based on what the Quran says. Allah says He created Adam with His hands, okay, and He created him from dust, and then He breathed His soul into him. And this is something which was a process in which Adam was made. And then...
you can infer, from dust, what does that mean, for example?
Say again?
Dust could mean the whole earth was dust, and slowly you became from dust to a human being through whatever process.
No. So there's no such evolution from dust to human beings, even according to the scientists. I don't know where you're getting that from. But one thing is sure. Look, first and foremost, in this case, we really have to understand God, okay? Because ultimately, we're going to die. And we all know this, that if one day we are going to die, then surely we have to understand if there is a life after death.
We don't know. We can speculate, as you said, but no one knows.
No, you don't have to speculate. Like I said, as Muslims, we believe in the revelation of Allah. Is that? Oh, you mean what's happening there? I don't know, not much. Sorry, they're recording? Okay, so...
Believe, speculate.
Yeah, it's alright, no problem.
Believe, speculate,
No, it's not speculation. I'll tell you why. Look, if your consciousness is something that you believe is given to you by God or by some divine power, then it is something which is quite significant, isn't it? Yeah, but if you're going to believe in your consciousness by faith, not by empirical evidence.
Empirical evidence isn't like the ultimate. There's a debate between you have the rationalists and you have the empiricists.
Yeah.
Just because something isn't empirically true doesn't mean it's not true at all.
Exactly. Yeah. So and I think metaphysical science falls in that.
I understand that, but when it comes to truth,
yeah.
The Christian man, I was on the way, it was the Charing Cross. He was explaining how I think Jews as well, Jews and Christians, they believe that the Old Testament was actually mythical and didn't actually happen. That it was like Moses was all a story
No,
to
no,
teach
no.
you something. I just want to know like.
No, they believe there was a Moses and the miracles of Moses did happen. So this is the Christian and the Jewish and the Muslim belief as well, actually. Then that's why I said it's an Abrahamic faith, which there's a lot of overlap. So a lot of people believe, a lot of beliefs like the prophets, the messengers, many of their stories are very similar. So like the flood of Noah, the miracle of Moses, the miracle of Jesus. Yeah, of course there is difference, yeah. So for example, I think the best example to give you would be Jesus, because the Jews completely, the Christians go to the other extreme, raise him to the level of God, and the Muslims are in the middle, yeah. They neither reject him nor raise him to the level of what we give him the honor and the title of what he is, the Messiah, the Prophet and the Messenger of God.
But Messiah is a Jewish term.
So what? So what?
So no, but I think I'm
In Arabic also is the term Masah, the same what do you say, meaning.
the languages are linked, but I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm saying that the Jews have a definition for Messiah.
Yeah.
And the Muslims, I think they have a different view completely of what the Messiah is.
I think
I just want to know how they square that sort of difference.
so the Jews reject Jesus as a Messiah.
Okay.
The Muslims accept Jesus as a Messiah.
But what is a Messiah?
A Messiah is someone who is, according to the Jewish, who will bring peace and tranquility to Israel and to the world at large, and he will rule with peace. So he'll bring peace and harmony. He'll be a king, basically.
So why do Jews reject? Why do Jews reject Jesus?
They don't accept him for many reasons. Number one, he didn't have a biological father. So they said that this is something which is odd for them. They actually slander even Mary. I'm not saying all of them, but many of them do slander her, saying that she had Jesus out of wedlock. And yeah, I mean, quite a few number of reasons.
But see, that's what I'm saying. They have a definition for the Messiah. And I assume that he needs to be born from a father, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No. According to them, maybe. I don't know. But
So exactly,
according to Islam,
to them, you have two different.
but why should we go based on that definition?
So then why should they go based off of your definition?
No, we are not telling them to. Obviously, for every religion have their own definition, their own understanding. As far as we are concerned, we have to look for the correct, religion, the correct faith, the correct belief. Now, it is up to us in this temporary life we have, 80, 100 years, whatever you're going to live, yes, but then it's going to end one day. So if you're a believer, disbeliever, theist, doesn't matter. One day everyone agrees we're going to die.
So then it brings us back to the very first question, why?
Yeah. So your first question was, why a Muslim?
Yeah, why?
Why Islam? Okay, Islam is the only religion which makes sense of our existence. Yes? So for example, according to Judaism, they are the chosen people. Everyone, you need to be born a Jew. You cannot choose to be a Jew. Yes, you need to be born
You
in.
can convert, I think.
Yeah, but they won't treat you as the first class Jew.
I'd have to talk to them for that. I don't want,
No, you can. But for them, the only way you can trace your Jewish tribe is from the father.
Right.
So your father has to be a Jew.
Okay.
When I say Jew, he is to be from the Bani Israel.
Right.
And
But what does it like? What's that?
so it's something which is only through lineage. You can be a Jew, you can be a Bani Israel. Yes? Why is that fine? If somebody is born like you in Turkey, not from Bani Israel, you will never become a Bani Israel, a Jew.
I want to become a Bani Israel.
Yeah, so I'm telling you about Judaism, why I think it's lacking. And the other thing is, if you look at the Torah, it doesn't give you any specifics about what will happen to you in the afterlife. Yes, there's almost like a gray area over
I
there.
don't mind that actually. I can't personally. I kind of prefer that because it's sort of because the afterlife, like you can't really describe it to human beings. You can give them images, fire, clouds, everything. But I don't know, and I don't really think that these are real things like actual fire, actual clouds, and angels.
Why not?
I think it's a symbolism.
Okay, what if it was then?
What if it was real?
I'll tell you what.
Then I'd be,
Let's flip a coin
Right.
and say if heads come that you win, that there is, let's say, no afterlife here. Forget about.
It's not that there's no afterlife. It's
No, I'm saying let's say there is no afterlife. You become dust, you die, and that's it.
Okay.
Yes. But if the other person wins in the flipping of the coin,
It's Pascal's
yes,
wager.
yeah, it's the Pascal's wager. So in that, the one who disbelieves in the afterlife, always loses. Yes, because the thing is, look, the one who prepared for it, if there is no afterlife, he's not going to lose anything, is it?
Well, he lost, I mean, arguably what an atheist would say.
What did he lose?
Well, he lost, let's say, going to the park with his friends. Or
Going where? To the park.
park or, you know.
Muslims can go to the park. What are you on about?
Okay. Not park, you know.
That's the worst example you could give.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it PG, but you get what I mean, like.
You mean
arguably.
you mean a nightclub, alcohol, girls, womenizing, fornication, adultery, gambling. Trust me, all these are bad things. They're not good for you. You don't need to be an atheist to identify these as vices and evil, wicked things in your life.
You know, I haven't actually touched alcohol in my life.
Alhamdulillah.
I haven't. It's just something that I don't do. Like, I
Yeah.
have never.
So tell me, what will I miss if if the atheist is right? What will I miss? Are you saying Muslims don't have fun? What are you on about? You're living in the wrong country. As a Turkish, you should know they have a lot of fun in their country. As Muslims.
I think you can be conditioned to find certain things fun and certain things not fun.
The only thing we are conditioned to is to submit to God, and everything that God has prohibited to us is something which is bad for you, bad for your family, bad for your community, bad for everyone. Okay? So what we are losing is nothing basically. In fact, we are gaining a good, moral, upright life.
So okay, it's back to the Jewish thing of
We are going
Symbolism.
too many topics, yeah.
okay, back to the symbolism.
Yeah, let's get back to God. Let's identify God. Because
so-
if you don't identify, everything else is worthless then.
Okay, so God, there's one God.
Okay.
I believe that He's unknowable in
Why is that?
any capacity.
Why do you think God is so distant from you that you cannot know God?
We're too small.
So what? He's not.
He's not, but we are.
So if he's not small, why can't he communicate with you?
He could.
He did. He did.
Okay, He did. He could.
Okay, so
This is the
so,
point.
so tell me what makes sense.
Right.
A God who is distant, completely out of touch with his creation, he does not show any what do you say? Any willingness to give justice to his creation in any sense whatsoever. He just lets them fend for themselves without any contact with them.
He gives you consciousness, but He doesn't interfere with your life.
No, I don't mean interfering.
Or He doesn't give
I don't
you
mean
any sort of
interfering.
guidance. He just gives you. He gives you like a compass, but He doesn't give you direction.
That compass is your fitrah. That's your direction. That's your Allah gives you hidayah in many different ways. Your guidance is in many different ways. So, like you said, you always felt bad to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? That is your guidance, bro. That is your.
This is different.
No. That is. Look, you can. What do you call guidance? Somebody giving you a literal lesson?
No. Okay, I'll give you an example. So guidance. Okay, so Muslims believe
Yeah.
the hijab, for example. The hijab.
Yeah.
I could say that the hijab or the niqab, in my personal, what's the word, fitra, is something that I should stay away from. It scares me. Probably.
Why?
It scares
Why
me.
does it scare you?
Because it's my fitra. I can't.
No, but
the
you
same
need-
way that I don't drink alcohol.
Look, you have to
something
have a rational understanding of your mind.
Why?
That is what because you got consciousness.
But
Your consciousness, your consciousness, no, rational in the sense that it should make sense for what you do and what you don't do.
It makes sense to you, but it might not.
No,
make
because
sense
it's
to other
your,
people.
it's your understanding.
Exactly.
So why is it wrong? Why do you think it's wrong? Let's start with that.
Okay, so
You can't just say it's wrong because it's wrong. I mean, I can say, look, I can say alcohol is wrong because it harms your body. Yes, there are people, studies done by scientists and published in the Lancet, which says that any amount of alcohol is wrong for you.
okay.
Okay, so I can give you a reason why alcohol is wrong. My rational understanding is this. What is your rational understanding for saying hijab is bad or niqab is bad?
The question is, why should I have a reason?
Because for you to say something is right or wrong, you should substantiate it. You can't just, okay, it's,
As in who is holding me? Who requires me to be
No one-
a rational reason as to why I don't?
yourself.
So I myself say I don't.
So what have you told yourself
Yep.
to convince yourself
Yep.
that this is wrong? That's what I'm asking.
I mean, I could come up with. Okay, so the base argument is that it's quite scary. Let's say.
Okay, so a woman,
This is scary.
a woman, okay. By the way, during the pandemic, did the mask scare you?
Yeah, a little bit.
So everyone who's wearing masks, you must be petrified. You must be running under the bed all the time.
It was sort of, it was a shock, let's say.
And then what happened?
And then you get used to it.
Thank you, perfect.
Doesn't mean it's.
That is the answer, bro.
Doesn't mean.
Alhamdulillah.
doesn't-
You know, the pandemic even helps us to understand this concept
Right.
of showing only the eyes. You know, like you said, everyone got used to it. So before, like in all the places, they said, okay, especially in France, yeah, they said, oh, the niqab is banned, the hijab is banned. I don't know if the hijab, but I think they definitely banned the niqab. So this is because for security reason, for you go to this place, you need to be secure. You need to see their face to identify that. All that went down the drain because of a small, tiny, microscopic virus. Yes?
I understand.
And I understand they wanted to protect themselves. But you see, all that reasoning which they were giving, which to be honest was unjustified, went down the drain. And it exposed them completely of all those reasoning that they were giving.
Back to the fitra.
Okay, so give me anything other than the niqab.
There shouldn't be a. Okay, everyone's fitra, I think, is subjective. That's my.
What's your name, by the way?
Theo.
Theo. So I think, Theo, so far what I've understood is that you want to have things based on what you feel is right.
Isn't that what the fitra is? It's
No. The fitra always inclines you towards the Creator, in the sense that it inclines you that there is something out there, there is someone out there who's looking after you.
So it's a rough direction.
It's a compass in a way, yeah. You know, like initially, initially when you do something wrong, you get this feeling inside that, hold on, that is wrong. Maybe the first time when you gambled, or the first time, I know you don't drink alcohol, somebody drank alcohol, or somebody even smoked a cigarette, for example. They will feel that this is wrong and I shouldn't do it.
But some people don't feel that.
I think most people do. You ask them what was your first experience, and they'll do. But look, fitra can get clouded as well. And I think many of the people, their fitra is clouded. We should uncloud it. We should uncloud it by reading the Quran, by praying. You know the 5 pillars of Islam? If a Muslim does that, I think they will understand Islam quite easily. Instead of going into much detail.